So hey girl, hey, welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I want to talk about how to know if someone is right for you, how to determine if a relationship or someone is a good fit for you. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, I like to preface, my videos with why, because, oftentimes it's prompted by something. And so in this video, again, I mentioned this in my other videos about me being a part of a support group and some of the things that I do recognize, and I've gone through it myself, and how I was able to move through this pattern and how I feel like it can help you too. Now, how do we know? First, I'll start off with how do we know, but how can we then prevent it? I think that's how we're going to do this. So, how do we know if someone's not right for you? So, we know by it not feeling good. It's not resonating with our spirit. We're not on the same wavelength and these kind of things. However, now this is where inner work and doing the work and healing yourself comes in, is if you are on a wavelength or a vibrational level or whatever you want to call it with someone that you don't want for your life, then it's going to feel right anyways. So after, while going through a divorce, after a breakup, something along those lines, it is so important to do the healing. It is so important to do the inner work. It is so important to be in solitude and listen to yourself and these kind of things, because you will continue to attract negativity or whatever you're vibrating on. So if you were in a space where you attracted a certain type of person in the first place, it has everything to do with you. Unfortunately, and I know that's tough to hear, but you chose the person. That's the thing. We oftentimes like to put the blame on other people. And there is no power in that. When you can take accountability and responsibility for yourself, there's so much power in that versus, that person's this way, that person's a narcissist, that person is a cheater, that person. And you keep wondering why. Certain things keep happening in your life. Especially if you exit a marriage, an abusive relationship, or, some sort of relationship, and then you enter right into a new one, that can be dangerous. And I think that oftentimes that is what is done. Why? Because it's easy. It's easy. It's an easy distraction. It's like, move on, forget about it. There's a saying, what's the easiest way to get over someone is to get under someone, which is the saying, but it's true. It's an easy thing to do, but you're going to keep running into the same thing if you don't take the time to do the inner work and really process everything. And so once you do that, once you really take inventory of your feelings and be clear on what it is that you desire, then at that point, you're better equipped to attract the person that you're meant to spend the rest of your life with, if that's what you seek. But without the inner work, without the healing, you're going to keep being in a cycle of the same kind of people and thinking that everyone else is the problem and you're not the problem. But I'm telling you, honey girl, You're the common denominator. And one of the things that I had to learn myself in my journey is that I don't put the blame on anyone else. I always say, what is it within me that I need to change to better move forward in my life? And even at this point in my life, I've also learned as I deepen my spiritual practice is that anything that's external to me, I go into the ethers and I fix it. But I'm taking that power, I'm taking that responsibility and that accountability. If something in my external is not a favor to me, I go into the ether or visualization, my imagination, to manifest the outcome that I desire. And that's how much power we do have, is that we have the opportunity to do that. But I say this because it's a big, huge lesson that I had to learn, that I was the common denominator. And at the end of the day, I made the choices that I chose. I made the choices that I did. And so an example of this is I had built a team for an event that I was producing, and it turned out terribly. It ended up being a disaster. But at the end of the day, I had to really take responsibility of that as the boss, that I'm the one that chose the people to execute. And when they didn't execute, I can't say, well, that is all their fault because they didn't do what I chose them. I chose them to execute. So it really comes down to me, because I made the choice to build that team. I made the choices to put those certain people on that team to execute what they needed to execute. And when that didn't happen, I chose wrong. And so that's kind of how you have to look at relationships as well, is that it's not about everyone else and everyone else has an issue. You're the one with the issue. You chose wrong because at the end of the day, you chose that person. And obviously we can't tell the future, but that's why it's so important to do the inner work and do the healing, so you are able to recognize things and see red flags before they become, huge mountains, these kind of things. Like when you're vibrating on a certain level, you recognize things, but you recognize the red flags, you recognize things that are not in alignment with who you are, because if something is not in alignment with who you are, it feels not good. It doesn't resonate with your spirit and it doesn't feel good. When something is in alignment with who you are, because you've done the inner work and you've done the healing, then it feels good, because you know the truth by how it feels. So when things are in alignment, it feels amazing. It feels incredible, And if you're in alignment with something that doesn't serve you, it's still going to feel good because it's familiar, because you haven't done the work. And so it's so important. And there's a process, especially when it comes to breakups and divorce and splitting up and all these things. There's a process that you go through, but one of the things you can't skip is the healing process. One of the things you shouldn't skip is doing the inner work and seeing what part did I play in this, and what do I need to heal within myself so I don't do this again. It's so important to take ownership and responsibility of your life, and not think that life has some sort of vendetta against you, because life, God, spirit, source does not. It doesn't. And so one of the things, I also did a video on what is the healing, what is healing. And healing is changing your inner world. And how do we change our inner world? It's changing our thoughts. What is that narrative that's going on in our head? What do we think? What are our beliefs? What do we think of other people? Do we think that everyone cheats? Do we think that everyone's abusive? Do we think we're unworthy? Do we believe that we deserve certain treatment? These kind of things. And so take an inventory of those thoughts, that narrative that's going on in your head, those beliefs, and changing that is so important. Now, I'm a big proponent for transformation. You know, Zuvia should really put me on their payroll as much as I drink it. But I am a big proponent for transformational audios, you know, affirming, journaling, scripting, these kind of things. You know, scripting is so powerful, because when you're writing it down and you're imagining it and feeling it, that, my friends, is so powerful. I meditate on what I wish to experience every day, how I wish to feel, and these kind of things. That's going to help change that narrative. It's going to help change the thoughts that are running through your heads, because thoughts create. Thoughts create. And we're not often aware of our thoughts. You know, a big step that I personally made to become aware of my thoughts is to stop watching TV. I was off social media for a while, you know, and really just be in solitude and actually start listening. And, you know, because what keeps us distracted are social media, TV, you know, not wanting to be alone with yourself, always having people around, you know, not wanting to be in silence. That it's hard to be aware of what's going on in your head when you're not aware of what's going on in your head. And that's so important, because you might think that you're a positive person. Now, I share this in my book, the story about how I realized what was going on in my head and how eye-opening it was for me, because I and everyone else, me included, and everyone else thought I was such a positive person. And on the outside, it seemed that way. But then when I really just shut everything off and was alone with myself, I started hearing myself and the narrative of, you know, unworthiness and low self-esteem and jealousy. These things, I started hearing these things, and healing the healing process is changing your beliefs, changing your thoughts, changing yourself, and your external will change. And so the point of this video really is how to know if someone is right for you. Once you've done the healing process, you know, and you've gone through that process, when someone's in alignment with you and you know that they're right, it feels right. You know the truth by how it feels. It feels good. It feels incredible. But if you haven't done the healing process, it still might feel good, but it's not what you want, because you haven't done the healing. So always do the inner work, the healing. You know, again, breakups, divorce is a process. Honor each step of that process, which sometimes people are still in the anger. Honor it, go through it, feel it. But girlfriend, move on. Move on. Go to the next step. Go to healing. Go to, I want an amazing life for myself. I want incredible love. This might not have worked out in my favor, but I know that I am deserving of a great man. I am deserving of a great relationship. I'm deserving of these things, and God damn it, I'm going to get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the thing. I'm gonna get it because I deserve it. I'm worthy of it. And it takes for you to go through the process to get there, but don't get stuck in the anger. Don't get stuck in the sadness. Don't get stuck in the unworthiness. Because if you just go from that step and then try to, you know, just move on and just get into another relationship, you're still in that vibration of anger, sadness, and low vibrations. You're going to attract someone on that same level. And if you're trying to up level your life, elevate your life, and have an amazing relationship, you got to get out of that stuckness. You got to get out of the anger. You got to get out the sadness. You got to get out of the low self-esteem and these things. And how do we do it? We change our thoughts. Your thoughts are so powerful. Your thoughts are everything. And I am, a living testament of that. Am I perfect? Hell no. Do I still have negative thoughts? Absolutely. But I don't beat myself up for it. I know what it is, and I'm like, okay, I see you. We're gonna change that because I know what I deserve, and I'm going to align with that. And what is alignment? Is matching everything up with what you are truly are at your core, which is love, which is happiness, are these amazing, incredible things. It's not unworthiness and this kind of stuff. So anyways, that's all for this video. I wanted to share. I had, I felt it on my spirit, and sometimes, I gotta share, things that are going through, we go through things, and it's important to share. I think there's so much power in our stories when we share them with others, and we realize that we are all the same. We are all the same. Anyways, that's all for this video. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And that's all. I will check you guys in the next video. Peace.